Hello, world. Welcome to the Vaping Unplugged podcast. Everything you need to know about vaping and tobacco harm reduction.
Awesome. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Vaping Unplugged podcast. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you so much to Allison who joined me today. Allison's from United States and works for ISIC Charleston. She will tell our listeners more about herself and her work in the U.S. We'll be talking about the ongoing situation as well as cover a little bit about World Vapors Academy, World Vapors Alliance Academy, that it's an ongoing project for us. Again, thank you so much, Allison, for being here. Allison is also a WVA's fellow, and I would like to, again, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. So with that, let's just start. You tell us about your work, what you do, and then we can briefly discuss the ongoing situation in the U.S. as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me, Lika. So I actually work for MiPod Wholesale now. I actually left ESIG Charleston about 6 months ago. Moved into a position with MiPod where I'm doing marketing, but I'm also have the freedom to do a lot of advocacy. And I'm super thankful for my amazing boss, for, championing, not only supporting the fight, but allowing me to take the time to fight. I think as everyone in the U.S. is aware, we had a lot of bills here in the United States over this past session. They were the PMTA registry bills. They passed in quite a few states. Fortunately for us here in South Carolina, they did not pass that bill here. And these bills essentially were, if you're not in the process of being approved, or in some cases, depending on how the bill was written, if you're not on the approved list, which we know is about 23 products, then you would not be legally allowed to sell in your state. And you have to apply to get on a registry. Some of them are extremely difficult to even get onto, like the one in Louisiana. So it's basically set up, in my opinion, to make small businesses fail. So it's been a tough couple of months, a lot of trips, from home up into, up to the state house, having conversations and trying to change some minds. We definitely look forward to the next session because we are planning to kind of write our own legislation, work with our lobbyists and legislators there in Columbia to try to pass some kind of sensible bill that not only protects adults that use these products, but keeps, it from, us being attacked, by companies, like Big Tobacco, who are, essentially pushing these bills to get passed. So we had a victory here in South Carolina, but I don't like to celebrate a victory when other people in other states are suffering and having to close down their shops. That's, to me, obviously public health failure. So yeah, it's been a bit stressful. But I think that, that all ties into what I got out of the World Vapors Academy. I attended a few years ago for the first time, and I learned so much from the guest speakers on how to approach politicians and how to have conversations with politicians and basically what is the most effective way of advocating, because a lot of people want to be involved, but I think maybe are a little nervous to take that first step because they just don't know how to get involved. And so the World Vapors Alliance Academy definitely prepares you for that. And that's why I was so excited to become a fellow of the World Vapors Alliance. I love what you guys are doing. The campaigns are amazing. I'll be honest, I'm a little jealous. Wish we could do some of that over here. But, I'm hoping that maybe one day we'll get there and we can, start to bring some of that advocacy that you guys do so well over here to the U.S. because I think that, it's very effective.
Thank you so much. That's always your feedback. It's always great to hear. Definitely. And of course, you're right. Vaping, it's probably attacked everywhere. Nowadays, we see a lot of regulations that pop up in different places, different countries. And we need to defend it, even if you're a vapor or you're not a vapor and just a supporter, you are an activist who defends THR. I think this is a time for everyone to speak up. As you said, we need to raise our voice and make our voices heard. So I wanted to ask you, can you explain the FDA's recent decisions regarding the vaping products and their impact on both the industry and the consumers?
I wish I could explain to you the FDA's process because I don't even think the FDA understands the process and what they've done. I personally fully, wholeheartedly blame the FDA for the illicit market that we're seeing. I also do not see any issue with disposable vapes. I know some people have, it's a touchy subject, but I know a lot of people that have used them, a lot of older people that are very intimidated by a vaping product, don't want to deal with coils, don't want to they're used to pulling a cigarette out of a pack and lighting it. And sometimes ultimately they have one issue with a pod system leaking or a coil not being good, and they move back to something that they know is always going to work for them, which is a cigarette and a lighter. So I think that they definitely have their place. But I also believe that the FDA denying 99.99% of all applications put us into this space where, unfortunately, in the US, we really don't see any innovation happening. Really, no new juice companies. I mean, how could you come out with anything when you know that the PMTA process is basically setting you up to fail unless you are a big tobacco product or a product that tastes like tobacco, which have been submitted by small companies as well and also denied. So, it's very clear that the FDA is focusing on funding and also very focused on political pressure. You see these Senate hearings being announced, and then you see the FDA making these big moves like joining together with the DOJ to go after small vapor companies, who are not selling to kids, who are not part of the problem. And that's what they're focused on. And meanwhile, in South Carolina, we have these head shops popping up everywhere that are selling not only, disposable vapes, but not real disposable vapes. I know personally, I've went into the shops and scanned the QRs and they come back that they're not legitimate products. You can call the FDA until you're blue in the face. They won't investigate these things because these shops are not registered with the FDA. So essentially, they're flying under the radar for now. And they are the ones that are selling to kids. I have my son just graduated from high school. He can tell me everywhere in town that his friends can get a vape. And none of them are at legitimate vape shops. And so instead of having some kind of, law where, T21, which was passed, where you have to have software and every ID has to be scanned and you have to prove that you're an adult only shop so you could be protected because you're doing the right thing and helping save lives, essentially. That's not what they're doing. They're actually hyper focused on these small vapor shops. And I think it's almost because they know that they can't fight back. So they can go after them and scare them and then have these huge, civil money penalties, put onto these businesses. And they just hope maybe they can't pay or they can't, and they'll just give up and close shop. But yet, cigarettes are alive and well in every gas station, convenience store, grocery store, everywhere, or, right around the corner from the vape shop that might not be open for much longer if the FDA continues down this path.
Yes, and I know like this is a term I've heard a lot, youth vaping epidemic, right? That's the argument that's being used. How do you think we should answer that, like contradict that? What's
Well,
in your
vaping has
opinion?
decreased by
What
61% since 2019. I mean, that's just a statistic that you can look up easily. I mean, and not only that, I've had an interview with Brian King with American Vapor Manufacturers back in February of 2022, 23. I can't even, the years just go by so fast. I can't even remember now, but where he admitted that there is no epidemic, right? He said it point blank. There is no epidemic. He's an epidemiologist who very well knows the definition of an epidemic. And he said it, that's an increase. And what we're not seeing is an increase. We're seeing a decrease. But at the same time, there's no percentage of youth that they find acceptable to use these products in order to change the way that they're handling the PMTA process to approve some flavored products. So not only are they focusing only on the youth, which that is coming way down, 61% is a huge drop. He's not even acknowledging the adults that were saved by these products, like me, who had health complications from smoking, potentially might not have been here to see my son graduate from high school, just recently, if I had kept smoking cigarettes. And I think that is the hardest part for me to wrap my head around, is that the idea of what will happen to the adults is just a non-issue when it comes to these people that are making these decisions.
And there are already measures in place to prevent this to happen, right? The I think since 2019, this argument has been overused as well, right? So about the youth vaping. So there are already measures in place, right?
Right. I mean, they did raise the age to 21. I personally think that did help. I think they really didn't give it time to help, because in reality, a lot more 18-year-olds are going to be spending time with high school kids as opposed to 21-year-olds. 21-year-olds are not going to be hanging out with kids in high school, and hopefully are smart enough to know that they're breaking the law regardless of how old they are when they're doing this. So they're not going to be so quick to purchase something for somebody who's underage. But prohibition has never made anything better. Prohibition has only ever made things worse. And not only has it made it worse, but it's made it more dangerous. And so youth is still going to get their hands on these products. My son can show me on his Snapchat a million different ways you can buy things, and I'll tell you, none of them are at a vape shop. It's that
They can definitely get their hands
they can
on
get whatever
cigarettes
they
as
want.
well.
Right,
Right.
exactly. But now they tend to think that that's safer, which is also mind-blowing. The fact that they could potentially think that smoking cigarettes is safer than vaping, which no kid should vape. But I personally would much rather see a youth that was smoking move to a vape to get off of cigarettes and ultimately off of a vape. Now, obviously, that's not ideal, but neither is youth smoking. I started smoking when I was 15 years old, and my life, could have been cut short because of that choice. And luckily for me, I found vaping before vaping had become attacked constantly, because I think as a smoker, I'm always looking for an excuse to keep smoking, right? Like something bad happens, I'll quit tomorrow. So if I saw on TV that it was just as bad, I would say, well, why should I even try this? It's just as bad. I'll just keep smoking. And that's kind of what this fight is all about, is to make sure that people like me that are, like I was smoking and having, health issues, or which ultimately most people will if they continue to smoke past their 40s. I want them to have the same opportunities and the same chance at having success at quitting smoking like I did.
Exactly. I also completely share that. I started smoking when I was 16 too, so I definitely understand and relate to what you're saying. And this we see a lot. There are lots of misperceptions around vaping going on as well, and I think media has a role in it, of course, because we worked on this as well, like debunking the myth that exists. Especially right now, flavors are also attacked everywhere. How is the situation in US?
Well, ultimately, there is a de facto flavor ban here. The FDA has not come right out and said there's a flavor ban, because there's a process that they'd have to go through for that. And so instead of doing things the right way and going through that process, they're just denying everything that's flavored. And that's really unfortunate, because for me, when I started using a vape, I used a tobacco flavor for maybe a week and a half. Um, I really started to not like the taste of that tobacco flavor after about a week and a half. And I really didn't understand why. But then I could tell, like, I didn't have to use as much salt on my food or seasoning. And I'm like, I think my taste buds are coming back because I'm no longer smoking, which is a real thing, right? Sense of smell, taste buds, all that stuff. It's like a whole new world for you when you fully quit smoking and you're fully vaping. And so that's where flavors play such a huge role, because it's fun to constantly change the flavor. It keeps it interesting. And it really kept me distracted from even thinking about going back to cigarettes, because to me, cigarettes just tasted disgusting compared to this amazing blue raz that I was vaping, And so going into the vape shop, trying new flavors, having that experience, that was a big reason that it was so successful for me and a lot of the people that I helped when I was in the storefront.
Yeah, definitely. I also didn't like tobacco flavor that much, but flavors for sure have helped. If not for that, I would also probably be smoking cigarettes, which is
Right.
crazy if I look back now what
Right.
happened. And I can't even stand the smell of cigarettes when someone else
Yeah.
is smoking. And I'm trying to slowly converting, trying to convincing my family members as well. My biggest probably achievement would be convincing my dad, who was a smoker for more than 40 years, which
Right.
is
And I'm sure all of
quite
the,
dangerous.
yeah. And I'm sure all of the misinformation that's out in the news is not helping your case to help him quit
Of course.
because I get that kind of stuff quoted back to me all the time. And it's really sad because I for a lot of the time in the area that I'm in, Charleston, South Carolina, everybody was vaping. And now
Yeah.
I'm constantly seeing everybody smoking. And I'm like, this
Ooh.
is a terrible trend, but this is the effect of this information that's coming out of public health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And WHO is not helping. I think they recently said that vaping products are designed to kill, right?
Yeah. Gotta love the
Yeah,
community notes on that, though. At least we have that.
exactly. And yeah, there are tons of challenges, misinformation being probably one of them. But how's the process going right now? What are the challenges THR advocates you guys are facing in the US?
Oh, man. I think honestly, it's kind of heartbreaking, but I see a decrease in people advocating for vaping. I definitely, when I was trying to rally people for the South Carolina bill, a lot of people are just kind of defeated in a way. They feel like they've just been so beat down by this process that it's like, well, this is just one more thing I can't fight. And it's really unfortunate to see that, the combined efforts of, the FDA and, now on a state level with these bills being pushed by big tobacco. I almost feel like, when you go into a business to help people quit smoking and because you essentially quit smoking this way, that most of the business owners that are in the South Carolina Vapor Association, they are people that opened shops because they were just so passionate because they quit smoking. And so it's really hard to fight when you're constantly being beat down, when all you wanted to do was just help people quit smoking. And so you're seeing a lot of people just not even having the effort in them to keep trying or keep moving forward because they're just done. They feel like, what else can I do? Looking at alternatives to sell and to move, these shops into different, avenues and things just to survive and stay open. And it is really heartbreaking because I know personally that all these shop owners have helped countless people transition from smoking to vaping, and they're just, and I think that's the hardest thing to see, is just that, people really don't see hope anymore. And I think that there's always hope. There's always another way. And I think that my personal experience with vaping is the reason that I won't ever stop advocating for it, because I always think in the back of my mind, like, that's one person that maybe didn't get the right information, or one person, and if I can help one person an entire year, if I could just help one person quit and transition, then I win. So I look at it like that because, you know, nobody gave up on me when I was trying to quit smoking, and I don't want to give up on anyone. I want everyone, whether it's, heat not burn, nicotine pouches, disposable vapes, open systems, I don't care what you use. If you're getting away from cigarettes, you've already won.
That was so true. And again, thank you for everything that you're doing. And I think it is the right time. I think this is a crucial time for we need more people like you. And I think we all need to speak up, even if it is just sharing our personal stories. That's one of the most powerful things we can do. so that our voices are heard. And I think it's just, um, I didn't think, maybe also I also didn't think about this before I joined WVA, but now that I've read such inspiring stories, it's like, yeah, people need to know about this. This needs to
Right.
be shared. This needs to be, this is a time that we need to advocate, and we need more advocates for sure. More
We
people
really
like
do
you.
need more advocates, and it's a thankless job. It's a non-paid job, I'll tell you. I don't get paid for any of my jobs other than my day job. So it's, it is thankless at times, but that one experience I have, like if I'm able to change one person's mind on Twitter or somebody I meet, in my development, which has happened many times, people will say things to me about vaping, and it opens up a doorway to have a conversation. If I can change one person's mind, or if a person walks up to me that I walk, my dog, and I see them walking their dog and they were smoking cigarettes and now they've been vaping now because of me, and they come up to me and they say, "Man, I feel so much better." That is all I need to keep going, and that kind
Exactly.
of fuels me to keep pushing forward. But I think that the tools that you can get with World Vapors Alliance Academy are invaluable. You guys do such a great job, and you truly care, and that really means a lot to me because I really care, and I like to be involved with organizations and people that have the same mindset that I do. And that's why I'm really proud to be a part of the World Vapors Alliance. And I think that anybody and everybody that, if you're thinking about it or you're interested in advocacy, this is something that's offered every year. Get on there and sign up for those classes because they really do help, and you make some awesome friends along the way. So that's always a plus.
Thank you so much, Alison. That's actually great to hear. And to give a perspective to our listeners about a little bit about Academy as well. This is a project we launched a few years ago, but it was originally an online academy, which is great because we usually try to attract as many people from as many countries, as many places as we can, and it's logistically most of the time impossible to get them in one place to make it anything other than online academy. But this year we managed to do like a short but very interesting meeting during Global Forum on Nicotine, which happened last week in Warsaw, Poland. It was great for me to also attend and get to know so many THR advocates and people involved in this movement. And I think it was a great opportunity, and for us as well to have at least a small part of time dedicated to Academy. And this is one of my favorite projects as well, just to share my thoughts. And we are definitely going to keep going and doing what we can in that sense, continue with the Academy. But I really do hope. Sorry.
He's excited about it too.
Yeah. So. Just cut here. So we're really gonna thank you so much for your feedback as well. And then after you joined our fellowship program as well. And again, this is so inspiring to see the work that you do and see so many people all over the world that I've met through the World Vapors Alliance. It's just fascinating to see. So yeah, we're definitely gonna continue with this work. We have the ongoing projects, and as you said, like this is something that we try to get as involved as possible because regulation changes are an ongoing issue in a lot of places. So we try to make this educational projects as well so that more people know about this alternatives. Just share that prohibition doesn't work and that vapors' voices need to be heard. Stay tuned, and we'll definitely continue with our academy and many other projects as well. Again, Allison, thank you so much. Just last question maybe for you. What are your predictions or your expectations? What's going to happen US? What are you expecting? We're going to hear, as you said, like this week probably, right?
Yeah, we're going to hear this week about the Supreme Court if they're going to take up those vaping cases, and I think we win in court. I think at the end of the day, truth will prevail, right? Science will win, and hopefully it doesn't take as long as it did for marijuana. But let's, I think that also we are, a force to be reckoned with, the vaping community. And when something saves your life and you can feel the difference and you experience it every single day, you can't take that away from us. And we're going to keep fighting for it because that's the right thing to do. And I truly do believe that one day we will be laughing about this and enjoying the fact that we are finally where we should be, and that maybe everyone has the right idea, or the majority of people have the right idea about what vaping truly is and what it can do.
Definitely, and good luck with that. I really hope it is something that we will laugh about someday. But we do need, for now, we need to raise our voices. We need more advocates, and we need to be convincing policymakers to make decisions based on science and listen to consumers. Hopefully we will win this fight. And with people,
it's
like
a long
you,
road. It's a long road
it
ahead,
is
guys. Buckle in. But one day, I truly believe it'll be worth it. And I think we'll say, oh man, that was a lot of hard work, but it sure did pay off.
I do truly hope so too. And as you said, we do have our victors to consider. Every life saved counts. But the fight is ongoing, and with more people like you, more advocates, I'm really hopeful that we can win this and for sure save as many lives as possible. Good luck with everything. I really do hope to hear more good news.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you, Allison. And thank you so much for your time today. And thank you, everyone who listened in. This was Vaping Podcast.